this is Yana Smakula for SimonsSTM.com. Welcome back for another Yippee for Yana video. Today I'm sharing a card in a technique that is one of my favorite when it comes to background stamps and colored pencils. Over the last few months, I've shared several videos showing how to color using polychromos pencils from Faber-Castell. However, if you are a beginner in card making or coloring, those videos might have seemed a little bit intimidating. So for today's video, I decided to go back to basics and do simple selective background coloring. I picked Center Cut Kaleidoscope background stamp for my project today. You can also use other background stamps. Simon has many Center Cut background stamps in their store, or you can use other cling or even clear background stamps from your stash. It is best to use a stamp that has some pattern to it, something not totally random, but just a nice geometric pattern, I would say, to be able to color it and to make it look cohesive. Here's a look at the card that I already made using this stamp. The project that I'll share in this video will be almost identical to this one, but it will have slight differences. I started working on my card by covering a piece of black cardstock. This is Simon Says Stamp black paper with anti-static powder. This is an important step in heat embossing and something that should not be skipped if you aim for a clean heat embossed look. Next, I'm inking up my stamp using Versamark ink, and I'm going to stamp it onto my paper. I'm using a stamp platform today to make my stamping easier. However, you don't have to, and you can also stamp with your background stamps, such as this one, by placing the stamp on your desk, laying the paper on top, and pressing down with your fingers. To heat emboss this, I'm going to use new Hero Arts Gold Glitter Embossing Powder. I've been wanting to try this product and I absolutely loved it. This might be my new favorite gold embossing powder. And Hero Arts also has the same glitter embossing powder in silver. I covered the entire panel and used my heat tool to melt the powder. With the glitter embossing powder, it's helpful to heat the paper from underneath to prevent the glitter from flying all over the place. But I did not seem to have this problem this time. The powder looked like it had the perfect ratio of embossing powder and glitter, and the glitter didn't fly all over the place, and I did not have a huge glittery mess on my desk once I was done. But just in case, it is best to melt these kinds of embossing powders from the back of the paper. So here is what this background looks like. It's very elegant, very rich, and it is just stunning. This color of embossing powder looks fabulous on black or any other dark color of paper. Here's that other card that I made, and here I used Simon Says Stamp Antique Gold embossing powder, and this one also looks stunning on black. I wanted to show you these side by side so you can see the difference in these embossing powders. I'm going to use my colored pencils by Faber-Castell, the polychromos, to do selective coloring on this background. I'm using just two pencils, number 163 Emerald Green and number 264 Dark Phthalo Green. Both of these pencils come in the 36 pencil set. Now, this is a good place to start with colored pencils if you've never used your pencils before. Why? Because this paper is rather forgiving and it doesn't take as much time or as much hand pressure to have a nice colored look. This pretty much is how I started using and getting to know my pencils. I colored with them on black paper. From there, I slowly moved onto other colors of paper such as craft and gray. Here, I'm using only two colors, and this also is a good place to start. This image is not a flower, it's just a pattern, so it doesn't matter if you add highlights or shadows. You just color for the sake of coloring and because it's fun. It's helpful to have a pencil sharpener nearby to sharpen your pencils when needed. The sharper your pencils are, the easier it will be to get into the little sections of the background and color it. When you color a background like this, it's up to you to decide which sections you want to color and which you'd like to keep as is. And you can even color all of the background if you like. I love to do just simple selective coloring here and there. And I love to have a lot of black in the background for the contrast. But if you would like to color the entire background, you totally can. Here's what my colored background looks like. I added a good amount of green to it, and I feel it's time to start working on the sentiment for this card. I'm going to heat emboss thanks from the Big Thanks Words stamp set onto black paper, and I'm using the same gold glitter embossing powder here, just so that everything matches. To have even more sparkle, I'm actually double heat embossing the word thanks. I've heat embossed it once, and now I'm using my MIST and double stamping the same word in the same place, and I'm going to add a second coat of this gorgeous embossing powder. I've cut this thanks out using a coordinating die, and I also want to cut another skinny strip here with another message. I don't want that message to be on black paper. I want it to be on green paper to be a better match for this card. But because I don't have the right color of cardstock in my stash, I don't have green that really matches the coloring on my card, I'm using my pencil to color a piece of black paper in the same color as the coloring on the background, and I'm heat embossing my sentiment over it. I'm using Never Change Who You Are sentiment from the You Got This stamp set, and I am embossing it in Simon's Antique Gold Embossing Powder. I did not want to heat emboss it in gold glitter, as these powders usually aren't as fine and they don't always work for tiny font sentiments such as this one, and I didn't want to take any chances. I could have heat embossed it in regular gold embossing powder, but I just love this Antique Gold from Simon Says stamp. I used black foam adhesive from Scrapbook Adhesives. I die cut identical thanks out of that foam, and I used it to foam mount my gold glitter thanks die cut onto my card. Finally, I adhered the skinny strip message, and that finished my project. If you look closely at my original card idea, you can see that I also used glossy accents, and I coated some of the sections with the glossy to make them look dimensional. It's like a stained glass effect. I skipped doing that here, as instead I used gold glitter embossing powder, and I didn't want to add too much to this card. I just didn't want it to go over the top. I hope you guys will give this idea a try. If you do make a card inspired by this video, we would love it if you shared your project online and tagged us on social media. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me. I will see you next time. Bye!